Welcome to Cocktails and Crime Analysis, the crime analysis related podcast with the absolute best intro music. If you fast forward through our intro, you owe it to yourself this holiday season. Go back and listen to the whole thing. It's the best music that AI can generate. Merry Christmas. My name's Charlie Gibberti, as always, with Jason Elder and Cassie Langdon, my loyal co-hosts. And guys, we're going to start this holiday-themed episode off with some holiday drink suggestions. So, Jason, we'll start with you. What are you drinking?
I am drinking a apple cider hottie toddy.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Hottie toddy. That's kind of the hunch punch of Christmas season. Because I feel like there's no set recipe for it. It's just kind of like any alcohol that somebody heats up is a hottie toddy. What do you put in yours?
With lemon. So this one has apple cider, honey, lemon juice, and obviously bourbon.
Obviously.
So yes, so that. But I did, when I was Googling the recipe and got the Yahoo results, I did see that you can, some make it with just water. It's just, as you said, warming up water with a bourbon and lemon is also considered a hottie toddy. So
sounds gross. I mean, I'm going to try it the minute we're done shooting this episode, but it sounds
a little
gross.
boring. But yeah.
Cassie, what about you? What are you drinking?
So, normally my Christmas drink is like hot Christmas wine, like a mulled wine.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. But actually just went with a spirited cup this time. Nice green for colors, and it is spiked lemonade.
That looks really spiked. You can't even tell that's lemonade.
I was just about to say.
Raspberry lemonade.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. Good
spiked
Lord.
raspberry lemonade, just to be clear.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, hey, that doesn't look very yellow.
The recipe is Bacardi with just a slight drop of lemon.
Yes.
Well, you guys have seen me drink old fashions all year, but this is no normal old fashioned. This is a Christmas themed old fashioned.
Nice.
I have a aging barrel that I throw a bottle of Buffalo Trace in, and I put a vanilla bean in and some cinnamon sticks and some green apple slices and let it age for 30 days. And it tastes like Holly Jolly Christmas Spirit the minute you pour it out.
Sprinkle some
Nice.
spirit on top.
It does. Puts you in the Christmas mood immediately. You can't help it.
You know what else puts you in the Christmas mood?
What's that?
Gifts.
Yes.
So, important question. For crime analysts, what is the best gift you can give them?
Well, hands down, the hottest gift this year, everyone's talking about it, the BD Analytics Udemy Power BI course. It's only $24.99 on Udemy, out now. It's absolutely a sensation. Everyone is saying that it is the best course that anyone's ever taken on Power BI. It's changing lives. It's healing the sick. People are just rethinking their entire lives after taking that class. So you can't go wrong. $24.99 for a limited time. It's a steal.
Are you sure it's that hot? Because my products, my crime analyst cups on Etsy have literally gone out of stock from the supplier. So, I mean,
Well,
when at first you don't succeed, listen to what your crime analyst told you.
Yeah.
The cups went out of stock.
that is a fantastic crime analyst cup.
Yes.
We'll throw a link to Cassie's store in the show notes. Go over there and check out the crime analyst Christmas swag.
Yeah, everything else is available, but not the cups. Please don't try and buy the cups. I'll have to refund you.
They'll make a great Valentine's Day gift later.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you better get to be making more. You better quit fooling around.
Jason, what item do you have to shamelessly self-promote?
Jeez, I was actually thinking this was a real question. I'm sitting there thinking,
This is a real question. We just gave real answers.
I mean, I wasn't gonna self-promote anything. I don't have anything here to sell. I was thinking you could give them the a all expenses paid training conference to their pick for 2025, wherever they want to go.
Any conference in particular that you would recommend, Jason?
So we got C&CA coming up in March. And
Who's the keynote speaker for that presentation?
can you remind
That
me?
would be me. Yes, I'm gonna blush. I am blushing. Yes, as red as my shirt. I am. Yes, I am honored to be the keynote speaker at this year's C&CA conference. So yes.
Oh, now after this, I'll be the only one out of the three of us that wasn't a keynote speaker at C&CA. And I never want to be, just to clarify.
Oh, man.
Oh, you're gonna be.
I can't, yeah. How do I follow
Now-
up these two?
So,
Now that you
Jason,
said
I
that.
don't want you to spoil it, but like, what kind of keynote speaker do you plan to be? Are you going to be motivating? Are you going to drop truth bombs? Are you going to name names?
My title for the keynote speech is Confessions of a Law Enforcement Analyst, if that tells you anything about the topics that I am going to cover.
Statute of limitations passed on all of them, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I guess we got gifts covered. What else you got, Cassie?
So, I mean, my daughter's favorite thing right now is Christmas music. So what is your Christmas, like, I have to listen to the song when it's Christmas time, and what is yours, like, oh my gosh, my ears will bleed if I hear this song again? Both sides.
It's interesting. Mine is the same song. And mine
Oh,
is
that's a parent's answer right there.
mine is Christmas Shoes.
Oh,
And-
gosh.
And it's the song Christmas Shoes is awful.
It's
right?
horrible.
But Patton Oswalt did a
Yes.
stand-up analyzing and making fun of that song to the point where that is a holiday tradition at my house to watch that YouTube video on Christmas Eve. So I both look forward to that song, but to actually hear that song on the radio and listen to it from beginning to end makes my ears bleed.
I'm actually, I feel the exact same way about All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. It's like so incredibly overplayed for decades. Like, that song is old at this point.
Oh, yeah.
For decades. And like, I distinctly remember walking through a mall and hearing that song, and it felt like every third song. I distinctly remember that. That's a very vivid memory I have, but I can't tell you the last time I was even in a mall. Like, I don't know, but somehow, like, it got so beat into me and it got so horrific that I kind of have, like, a, what is the syndrome when you start to relate to your oppressor?
Stockholm Syndrome?
Yeah, I have, like, Christmas Stockholm Syndrome because, like, that's how you know Christmas is starting in earnest. When you start to hear that song playing places, you're like, I guess she's awake from her slumber and now it's time for Christmas season again. So yeah, it's weird how these songs kind of do that to you. You like absolutely hate them, and then all of a sudden you kind of grow fond of them.
I think the last couple of years, that song has reached the top 25 Billboard charts recommendations.
That's
She's the
insane.
Nickelback of the holidays.
Hey,
Everybody says they hate her, but
Cassie's
she's in the top
gonna-
of the charts.
I like Nickelback. I will openly admit that I like Nickelback.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going
Okay.
to defend Mariah Carey, but you're going to
no.
defend Nickelback.
Mine is actually I'll Be Home for Christmas. The like I hate because it's just so sad when you start thinking about it. Like I just feel like if only in my dreams. Like what? Why? Why are you not home? Where are you?
Yeah, well, and
Too many
I think it's-
questions.
And there's a country music version of that where they sprinkle in like military families giving messages to
You
their
want to make
family.
me cry? Play
Like,
a military coming home video.
Yes, like oh.
Can't do
Like
it. Especially
to
with
me,
military
that I
stuff.
was like, man, because to your point, it's already sad, and then they sprinkle that in, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
I guess I kind of always thought that song was like World War II era. Like it evokes this idea of like a soldier writing these things back from the front lines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Too sad. Too sad. I really, really love Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, though. It's just a classic.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember like the claymation Rudolph shows that would come on
Yes.
Christmas? Like so you may not know this, but when I was a kid, there was like a claymation Rudolph, like a movie, I think. And it was very much just the traditional Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer story. And a couple of years ago, I was sitting with my niece, and I was like, let's find something to watch. And we were flipping through channels, and the claymation Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was on. and I was like, oh, I watched this when I was a kid. I used to love this. You'll love this too. And Rudolph was like flying and shooting lasers at an abominable snowman. It was the same animation. It was the same voices. And like he had like a super squad, like Avenger reindeers, and Santa Claus had been like that has grown into a whole industry. Like there's like 14, 15 of those things, and he gets superpowers at some point. So at some point I had to get caught up on the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer saga because apparently they've done big things since I was paying attention.
Yeah, I have not seen that. I do not know. I just know that like the original one is like very sexist. It's like this is man's work. It's like
as the little elf is like hammering in like a dollhouse.
The one Rudolph's dad said, "You stay here. This is man's work to go find the sun."
Is Rudolph a girl?
No.
He's a boy. He's not a man.
We know that?
Yet.
It's not. Yeah.
We do
because
we don't.
He gets antlers later, and they're all, and he has the girlfriend. So yeah.
He has a girlfriend.
Doesn't say anything.
Yeah. Yeah, because the reason they first noticed that he leaps really long or tall when she kisses him, and then he said, "She thinks I'm cute. She thinks I'm cute." Yeah.
I feel like I remember that vaguely. I don't know.
So you guys probably, you know, I grew up with 3 channels on the television, and so it was must-see TV to sit there and figure out what day Rudolph was playing on the TV and had to be in front of that TV at that particular time, CBS, 8 o'clock on a Wednesday.
And you had to hope they didn't break in with a report from World War II front lines to let you know what was going on in Germany. And
to know that, you know.
It wasn't even in color. That's sad.
Yeah, and I did have a TV. I did have TV. The one TV did lose color that we watched for the longest time, and my sister and I used to pretend like to guess what color it was supposed to be, and that's what we'd watch TV in black and white and guess what color it's supposed to be. Yeah, that was the thing.
You really are old man elder.
Yeah, I am old man elder.
Glad I'm not that old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And being that old, you've probably seen some interesting traditions in your time.
Yes.
More specifically, interested in police department traditions. What do you love? What do you hate?
Oh, man. I think that the antisocial person in me, like, they always have some kind of big party, and I would not know like half the people, or not regularly talk to like half the people at the party, and so it was always a little weird to go to this party and, you know, to rub elbows with everybody and to try to be awkward but try not to be awkward, and it would make me more awkward because I was trying not to be awkward, kind of thing. So I never really loved that whole aspect of having this Christmas party, especially if it was like department wide, or it was like bunch of people outside of your normal co-workers, and so that was always a little annoying to me. You know, and some of the stuff that I like, I think I like the fact that the police department seemed to embrace the holiday, like they tried to do some kind of community service, or whether it's information or to try to do something fun with the community and whatnot. So I think I like to see the police departments actually try to do something fun for Christmas for the community.
Charlie?
So in recent years, I've seen, I don't know who started it, but police departments building out this whole "we're going to arrest the Grinch" narrative on social media. Like, if you need a good example of this, check out the Blacksburg, Virginia Police Department's Facebook page. But they'll have, for like a month before Christmas, they'll do these social media posts where there's like a Grinch sighting, a Grinch shows up and steals presents, and then the police are there dusting for prints. And it's kind of kitschy, but like I got to watch, not this past year, but the year before, kind of like a police department do some of this, and watching the cops who were involved in it turn into kids again as they're just like, yeah, I'll be the one interrogating the Grinch. Like, I don't know, that was just kind of adorable. Like, it was like this sort of flashback to childhood for all of these big tough cops all participating in the Grinch thing. And I've seen a lot of police departments do that, and I think that's cool. The one that has always driven me crazy is whenever it's a holiday, and so they decide that they want to do like community outreach and benevolence, and so they'll have typically like the chief or someone out there like stopping cars, and they'll come over and they'll just be like, do you know why I stopped you? And of course the driver's like, no, I don't know. And they're like, because you don't have a free Christmas ham. And then they hand them like a basket of food or gifts or something. I just think about, and I know some of that is staged. Some of it's staged.
I pray they all are.
But I'm guessing that some chief somewhere saw one of those videos and was like, we should do that for real, or maybe just didn't think that it was staged. I don't know, but man, if I'm ever driving my car and I'm late and some cop pulls me over to hand me a ham, I'd be so pissed off. And one day, there's going to be a horrible incident. Like, there's going to be some sort of altercation that ends with, like, a shooting or pursuit or crash or something like that. And it's going to go to the Supreme Court. And they're going to be like, so why'd you try to stop the car in the first place? And they're going to be like, well, because we wanted to give them this turkey. And then they took off, and we had to spike strip them, and we let the dogs loose. And, and it's going to spot, I don't know. So I have never really liked that. It's all fun and games until somebody gets spike stripped.
Yeah.
I have a hard time. Like, each department I've worked at, there's been something different that I've enjoyed. At the beach, I actually started. So, you know the little elf on the shelf? Yes. I got one, a knockoff one that was like an emoji face with sunglasses on it. And his name was Chester. And the squads could move him once a day. And it was like a competition. It started when I was in records. And I was like, all right, if you move him, you have to put him on the log. And then whoever put them in the most creative, more fun way I would do like make breakfast for after Christmas. And the first year, like, everyone really got into it. Like, the detectives, they put like a little ornament that looked like a disco ball and had it like a clip where you unclipped it and it swung and he was hanging on it, and then he had a little sign that said I came in like a wrecking ball.
Nice.
And another squad literally made a whole arrest report for him and put him in the jail cell, and then like photoshopped what his hair would look like under his hat, and like came up with this whole story about how he was drunk driving. So they really got into it. That was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
And then at Carey, the investigations, we did like a holiday potluck. It was kind of sometime in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And there was always the day of the potluck. It was an ugly sweater competition. So last year, I got everyone's photos off of our like town site, the employee portal, and made like a Christmas tree out of everyone's faces. And then like on the back, I had the guy who was newly promoted as captain with a little Santa hat on it. It said, "Look at me, I am the captain now."
Oh, that's cute.
So we just had fun with it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So last year I went to Ugly Sweater Christmas party, and I tied a string to a mirror and put it on, and so that was the ugly sweater. So when I went and like, so the ugly sweater is like, so I would just hold it up, and like, some people didn't get it. Like, it was like, I'm like, oh, okay. And then there was these two old ladies that were like old by like 20 years compared to like everybody else in there, and they were clearly offended. Like, we're clearly offended that I did, like, I wore that, and I did that. Yes, how dare I? They were definitely very bitter that I would wear such an outfit. So,
I was going to an ugly sweater party one year, and I went to a store, which I know it's like so retro to go to a store, and ugly sweaters are like a whole industry now. You can't just go get a crappy ugly sweater. They're like $100 for these sweaters, And so I found one that I thought was hideous, and it was also pretty cheap, and it was kind of cool. It had like a bullseye on my chest, and it had these little balls that you could throw and stuck to it.
Oh, I see.
And so it kind of like
yeah.
turned me into like a ball throw game.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of funny. But for those of you that know me, you know that I'm a little bit of an introvert, and whenever I want to leave the party, I want to fucking leave, and I definitely don't want people touching me all the time. And so that was the wrong sweater to get, because people really did take that literally. They were all just like, people I didn't even know were running up and just like, oh my god, let me touch you and throw things at you. And it's like, well, this is my fault. I decided this, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unintended consequences.
Perfect for my best friend. She is the most extroverted person you have ever met in your life. Loves talking to strangers. Like, it's a thrill ride for her, and I'm like, God, please, can we not talk to these people we don't know next to us? Thank you. I just want my tacos, and let's go.
Nope. Can't take her anywhere.
So, very important question. So, one of my favorite Christmas movies, because I'm going to just lay down this claim right here that it's a Christmas movie, but this is up for debate. Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie?
I have a really strong opinion on this, so I'm going to let Jason go first.
I'm probably going to make both of you angry.
Do it.
I don't think I've seen it.
What? No.
Yeah.
You've seen all the Rudolph trilogies, but you haven't seen Nightmare Before Christmas?
I don't think I have. I don't remember it, and I don't think I don't remember it if I did. So I don't think I have seen it. Like, at least not all the way through.
Homework assignment before
Yeah.
I was
Christmas.
just about to say, like...
You have to watch this movie.
Right, so on our next episode of Cocktails and Crime Analysis, Jason Elder is going to give a scene-by-scene analysis of Nightmare Before Christmas. Cassie and I will verify that he actually watched it.
Yeah. I'm gonna live stream just me watching it.
No, you're right, Cassie. It is absolutely a Christmas movie. It is not a Halloween movie, and it is not both. That's such a cop-out answer. It's not both. It's not two things. It's one thing. It's a Christmas movie.
First of all, Christmas is in the title.
Yeah.
The whole time they're focused on making Christmas.
Yeah. Stealing Christmas, kidnapping Santa Claus. The songs are about understanding Christmas and trying... No, like, people who say it's a Halloween movie, they're just absolutely crazy. They're the same people who say Revenge of the Sith is better than Return of the Jedi. They're just fucking wrong.
That's just messed up. Oh, another question. Speaking... Okay, let's see if we can answer this one. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
I say yes, because that's one that's also turned into a tradition at my house, that we watch that every Christmas, either Eve or Christmas Day. And we actually bought it on Amazon a couple years ago. And so, and this is again me being old man elder, I didn't realize that it was rated R. Like, I always watched the made for
1980s R too.
Yeah,
back when R was R.
I guess I always watched the made for TV version. And so I'm like watching it with the kids. I'm like, oh, like this is way more verbal than I thought it was. So I was like, oh, okay.
And it's like 1980s violence.
Yeah.
Like, it's not somebody gets shot and they fall off the screen. It's like somebody gets shot and there's like blood. Yeah. You know, like there's real profanity, there's real trash talk in them. That's back when men were men and Christmas movies were Christmas movies.
And I did just watch Netflix Carry On, which has been deemed like the next Die Hard, and I will tell you it is not the next Die Hard. It jumped the shark like 3 times.
Anything that claims to be the next Die Hard is definitely not going to be the next Die Hard.
Yeah, I should have known better.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Not only does it take place at Christmas time, not only is the purpose of the hero's journey to go out for Christmas, but it occurs at a Christmas party. Mm-hmm. Mm. And there's multiple references to it being Christmas throughout, so it's not just like a bookended part of the story. Like, he writes, now I have a machine gun, ho, 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 on the guy's chest, in blood. Holy cow, that is a really violent movie, isn't it? Like, I forgot it. Good Lord, that's a violent movie.
But your definition of bookends, White Christmas. If you ever watched that, it is like Christmas the first 2 minutes and the last 2 minutes, and everywhere in between, you could barely tell it was Christmas in that movie.
So, confession, never seen it.
Yeah, each year, a couple years ago, I started to go through and watch Christmas movies that I've never seen.
Yeah.
So, I must have not gotten to The Nightmare Before Christmas yet. But I will put that on my list. But yeah, White Christmas was a couple years ago, and I was like, what is this movie? Because I can barely tell that it's a Christmas movie.
That's one of those movies that everyone like says is a classic, and it winds up on all like the classic movies list.
Yeah.
And it's so freaking boring. It's only because somebody wrote an article about classic movies back in the 60s, and ever since then, everyone who's ever written a subsequent article just copy and pastes.
Yeah, it does have the one song, White Christmas,
It's just
in it.
legacy
So,
code.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so speed round in this kind of this or that Christmas edition fashion here.
Okay.
All right. Holidays, home or traveling?
Home.
Home.
Home, 100%.
Yeah.
I traveled for Thanksgiving, and I'm still exhausted from it.
It's the worst. Don't do it.
Christmas trees, real or artificial?
Artificial.
No.
I love a real tree, but I'm so busy. I don't have time. So I've got my tree. I shrink wrap it so it's decorated. It takes 5 minutes to put up, and I am in the Christmas spirit, and it's magical.
You don't even redecorate it.
Nope.
No. So I have a real tree.
Mm-hmm.
And one, because I love the smell of Christmas tree. I also have like balsam candles that I burn like year round because it is the best smell ever. And yeah, you smell. Yeah, yes, you have to pick up the pine needles, and I know it's annoying, but it's just you get to pick a tree every year. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
If
I
I had
less exciting. I grew
if
up.
I had
with
a
an
kid, I
artificial
would go
tree.
be picking a tree every year because the process of picking a tree is like a big deal.
Yeah. Granted, we went to Lowe's this year. I'm not saying they're fancy, but we still like. She's 2, so she like still helped me pick around. I was running through the aisles, so
Yeah.
that is what it is.
Now, when the kids were younger, we did do real, and we did the traditional, like, go hunt it down, cut it down, drag it to the car.
You
and-
cut down a tree?
Yes.
Really? Like with an axe?
With a saw. They give you a
Went
saw.
out to like the woods, like the forest.
Well, no, it was at a tree farm. They said, "Hey, there's the saw. Go out and cut your own, and you can drag it back, and then we'll measure it and charge it."
Yeah,
Well-
we have a tree farm here. Then I'm pretty sure they let you do that.
I didn't know there were tree farms that let you cut down a tree. That completely changes the calculus for me. Like to go out there, like I always like went to. All right, so like I grew up in the panhandle of Florida. I didn't know where there were Christmas tree farms. We always went to the Sam's parking lot, and like the Boy Scout troop were there with some trees, and they'd stand them up, but they were already cut down.
Yeah.
Like there's no you go like this idea of like walking through the snow with your boots on, and then you cut down a tree and drag it to your car. That's awesome.
Yeah. I will.
Damn it.
Maybe in the show notes, I will put in a picture of the kids watching me profusely cut down the tree, because that's a picture of I think my son's 4 and my daughter's 1.
Aw,
So
I would like to see a video of Jason Elder chopping down a tree.
me too.
I do actually have 3 Christmas trees decorated in my house at the moment.
And they're all fake.
So they're all fake. So I have the traditional one inside. I have one dedicated to just the year. So we always get an ornament with the year on it. So that one has all the years on it. And this year we built a Christmas room on our back deck with trains and everything else. And a tree that I found on the curb that I felt bad for last year, I drug home. And I decorated it and put it in the back there. So I have 3. I currently have 3 Christmas trees decorated in the house.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Eggnog or hot chocolate? Either can be spiked or
Ooh,
None.
if it's gonna,
This is tough.
I'm gonna go eggnog. I'm gonna go eggnog.
I love chocolate. I've got chocolate bitters in this right now, but I feel like the only time you can drink eggnog is right around Christmas, whereas you can have hot chocolate in January.
I feel the only time you can drink eggnog is just never, because it's disgusting. And why do you people drink it?
Yeah, a couple years ago, my family had a eggnog off, what we called the eggnog off, where
like multiple. Oh,
where we had a contest. Like each of us made an eggnog recipe, and we all tried it, and then we judged each person's eggnog.
I feel like this has its roots in the 1970s and 80s way of raising kids, when you were driving down the road and you had the kids in the back of your pickup truck, and there's not even like walls around them, let alone seat belts, and you're smoking cigarettes around them all the time, and you're letting your 6-year-old have a beer. Like, just that kind of culture produced this love of eggnog that is 98% liquor and 2% some other dairy thing that makes it eggnog. Because, like, the only people that I know that enjoy eggnog are the people who were traumatized by, like, a grandparent when they were little. When they were like, try some of my eggnog, and you had it, and it just, like, burned your soul as an 8-year-old. We all have these horrible experiences. We all talk about how horrible our grandmother's eggnog was, but then it's kind of like Mariah Carey. We also sort of enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's a
Mariah
tradition.
Carey, Nickelback, and eggnog.
It's a tradition like no other.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on from the eggnog, because that's just... playing games or watching movies?
Watching movies.
My nieces and nephews have all just gotten to the age where playing games with them is cool.
Yeah.
Like, I played Monopoly with them last year, and I just drove a wedge between all of them that I think is going to persist for years and years and years. I caused rivalries. There's still great debates that break out about whether or not Charlie was insider trading during the Monopoly game, whether there was market manipulation. So,
did you actually finish the Monopoly game from beginning to end?
Well, if you consider the end where somebody says "fuck this game" and just like ends the table.
2 in the morning, Grandma.
Yeah, like that is when a Monopoly game is over, right?
Yeah,
like,
because I don't think I ever played a Monopoly game to its finish. Now, Monopoly Junior, yes, because they tweaked the rules to get it done in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But not actual Monopoly. I've never finished a game.
So my father is part evil, clearly, because if we started playing Monopoly, we were playing it till the end. We were getting through it. There was probably some shady deals happening, but we were going to get through it. And the crappy part was, he won every single time. Because my brothers would cave, and they would make a trade that clearly was not benefiting them. And even at their young age, they knew it was not benefiting them. I'd look at them, I'm like, Marley, look me in the eyes, look me in the eyes. You're not going to trade that with Dad. Okay, I'm not going to trade with that, Dad. And he'd be like, I'll let you have a free pass next time you land on it. Boom, traded. And I'm like, try to win here. We're already 4 hours in. You might as well just get comfy.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I have 2 nephews, and last year I put the older one out of the game. He couldn't afford his rent. And the younger one was like, I know, I'll give you money so that you can stay in the game and keep all your properties. And I was like, part of me was like, all right, got to be a dick. The other part of me was like, all right, let me educate this kid. So I got out a piece of paper, and I was like, look, you give him this much money, he lands over here, he's still out, and then I'm going to buy all this property, and then you're going to have less money, and you're going to go out faster. And here's how the money works, and here's how the rent works, and here are the odds of him landing on something, and do you really want to do this? And my nephew, who was 13 at the time, he's like looking at me right on all these numbers, and he's just like, And then he goes, trust the process. And he hands his cousin all the money, has him back in, and I was like, no! What are you doing?
Trust the process.
Trust the process.
Gambling.
And then, like 5 minutes later, I owned all of their properties, and they were out of the game. But that was the moment that games became better than movies for me at Christmas, when my 13-year-old nephew said, trust the process.
I love board games. I've loved a good game night. I have a lot of obscure games. I get my family a board game every year for Christmas.
I don't know if I told you all this or not. I have a neighbor that is a board game collector, He probably has 200 games. Every year he goes to the board game convention in Orlando and trades games and everything else, and he buys prototypes and whatnot. And we'll have a game night, every once in a while over at his house, and we'll just be playing like this prototype board game.
Very important question. Does he have the Cones of Dunshire?
I will have to. I could text him real quick
Because
and
if
see.
he
Do you want to be a maverick?
Cones? Cones? Like a ice cream
I want
cones?
this game, Cones of Dunshire.
Is
It's
it like
from a
somebody's made
TV
it?
show. Somebody made one somewhere as a prototype.
I'm sure
so it's
somebody's made
out
it.
there. But I have not been able to find one.
Okay.
I
It's
have
cones
watched-
it's cones as in ice cream cone?
Yeah.
Of Dunshire.
Yep.
What I want to know is why I've been going to crime analyst conferences all this time. If there were board game conferences out there, that sounds way cooler.
Speaking of crime analysis, we should probably pivot somewhere in Cocktails and Crime Analysis to talk
At
about
some
crime
point, yeah.
analysis. So, we'll keep with the Christmas theme. We're in A Christmas Carol. We're going to travel through time. Starting with our past.
Ooh.
Maybe your past as an analyst. If there was a ghost that showed up, what would it take you to in your crime analysis past? Also for fun, if you can name your ghost.
Are we talking about the Ghost of Christmas Past or the Jacob Marley ghost that shows up? Because there's actually 4 ghosts in that show, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there technically is.
Yeah, there's like his
You
partner.
can name
who
all
is,
your
like-
ghosts. Name as
who
many
is,
ghosts
like-
as you want.
Well, if it's the Jacob Marley who shows up and he's like, if you'll recall, Scrooge is having a nice quiet night by himself, enjoying his life, having no problems. And then all of a sudden this Jacob Marley guy shows up with chains. He's rattling them. He's making noise. He's ruining everything. And he's like, oh, I'm going to fuck your night for the rest of the night. Like, your night's going to suck now. And, like, all I can think of is if there was somebody like that in my life, it would 100% be Amanda Bruner. This girl calls me up, and she'll just be like, hey, Charlie, you remember that Esri model that you built 18 months ago for some obscure thing? Yeah, do you remember off the top of your head how you built that and what it was doing and why it may not be working now? It's like, no, Amanda, I don't. Like, well, would you mind just dropping everything you're doing for the next 6 hours to help me? So, like, yeah, Amanda Bruner would be my Jacob Marley, I think.
Oh, man. Probably not for the same reasons, but I would think that Mindy Yoon would be my Jacob Marley. Since we are the co-creators of the Analyst Talk podcast, so to put that into reference. So she would be the one visiting me, disturbing me, all, in the middle of the night, like you described. So...
Mine would probably have to be Zach, my old co-analyst from. Yeah, he was my buddy. He was very introverted, but
Did I meet Zach when we were at
yes,
Peakwave Arena?
you've met Zach. Most people have actually met Zach, and they don't remember meeting Zach because he's very to himself. He might say hi. Like people would come in the room, he would not turn around. If he did, he'd turn around and say hi. He was like, "Man, he likes you. He likes you."
Honestly, that's.
And he's
Like-
hilarious once you get to know him.
Yeah.
But
So I'm trying to think. I guess in the spirit of Scrooge, I guess Chris, they would take me back to maybe when I was first an analyst, and I was just had that newbie spirit that I was going to change the world, and that I was just gonna go out and just talk to different people, and I was going to change the department and solve crime, and I had all these answers, and I was just full of piss and vinegar, and it was before reality set it. So that's I think in that is remember when you used to be excited? Oh yeah that's this is it.
Remember when you weren't so bitter and tired all the time?
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yes.
mine would like take me back to when I first started trying to like automate like the stuff that I had learned how to make, and I didn't at first. I had nobody who really could teach me any of that, so I was just looking at YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
And so like if the Ghost of Christmas Past is like the super scary one, right? He'd show you back and just be like, oh no, what can I change? Mine would take me back to, there was probably 3 or 4 months of my life I lost because one of the first things that somebody recommended to me was crystal reports. And so I downloaded it and I struggled with it to try to make it be not sucky all the time. I would give myself that time back and
Yeah.
not have wasted all of it trying to make crystal reports do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will add, before you go, Cassie, I will add that just because I know you guys need food for how old I am. So my career began exactly 2 weeks before 9/11. So I actually worked 2 weeks prior to the era of
You
9/11.
were a pre 9/11 analyst. Holy
Yes.
cow, Jason! You were in the WWF Attitude Era. The Rock and Stone Cold were fighting.
Yes,
You were starting
yes.
as an analyst.
Yes. How about that?
That is
Man.
crazy.
That's a quarter century.
Yes. That's hence the name, Old Man Ellie.
Wow. 25 years. We have to do something special for your, like, I do something special right around September 11th.
It would be August. It technically would be August 28th. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
we'll get that in the beginning of August. Give it a little buffer zone there.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about that. Cassie, what about you?
My if taking it past, it'd probably be me when I first started at Carey. Like, really as a data analyst, because my previous stuff in Wilmington was Intel. And I was sitting there, and I have an Excel spreadsheet in front of me, and then I have Power BI, and they're like, "Oh, learn how to use Power BI. There's some other people across the pond, like in the water unit, that knows how to use it. Like, figure out how to use that out. The old lady's she's already retired. She can't train you." And I was like, "I'm just gonna do this in Excel. It's fine. I'm just gonna do this in Excel." And I sat wasting a lot of time trying to do stuff in Excel instead of just learning to do something new. I did cave after I realized how long and how crappy the product looked of me trying to do it in Excel was compared to what they were used to. But yeah, could have saved myself so much time.
Yeah.
We've all had that moment, though, that moment of realization as analysts where you realize, oh, I finally come to it, the thing that can't be done just in Excel. And you have to like leave the tadpole pond and become a fully grown frog analyst.
Access? I wasn't going to touch that either. Previous analyst had built a query in Access, and it literally had instructions for how to do it. I could not get this thing to open. Couldn't get it to open for the life of me. I read through. I was like, "What am I misreading this instruction?" Like, she left a binder, and I'm like,
just for that one query.
Yeah. Well, no, for all of like what the role was. But I was like, that Access file gone. We made
just gonna delete that. Sorry, no, they didn't leave it. No, there's. Sorry, Chief. Yeah, she said something about an Access file, but I can't find it. It's weird.
The town ended up deleting Access in general. Like, they don't use it at all, so it's fine. I rebuilt it in Power BI. Yeah.
That is coming one day, I think, for everybody. And we'll see.
All right. It then takes you. It goes in order, right? And then the Christmas Carol. We travel along. We go to future and then we go to present?
No, we go present then future.
It goes present. Okay. And we're traveling along from the past. And it brings you to the present to focus on your crime analysis state. What does it show you?
Okay.
For those just listening and not watching, imagine spirit fingers happening.
Spirit fingers. Spirit fingers.
Literally. Spirit fingers. Get it? We're talking about spirits.
Oh. So I guess the question is, what are we doing with our crime analysis stuff?
Like what is your state? What is it going to show you that's important? Like, what is your pet peeve? Where do you feel like maybe you need to improve? You can do either way.
Yeah. I think my ghost would just tell me, you know what, Charlie? Like, no improvements. You're just crushing it. You know, just keep being you. Keep it straight 100, as the kids say. And I'd say, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. No. So, no, I'm just, I guess, preparing to be keynote speaker. Yeah. That's what I'm doing right now. That's my present.
It would just watch you repeating the same speech over and over, like curled in the corner.
Just
I can do
back
this.
and forth, back and forth. Yeah, doing calisthenics, doing all kinds of reps, and looking for inspiration anywhere I go.
Yeah.
If mine had brought me back to like 3 days ago, it would show me going through all of Jim Mallard's notes and critiques on my Power BI Udemy course. I do actually want to thank him for that. I had a couple of people go through, and I think I had 12 people go through it, and 10 of them just wrote back, "Great stuff. Thanks for the course. No changes." And then I thought I was ready to go, and then I opened up Jim Mallard's Evernote file full of comments, and it was a lot. That guy really helped me improve.
Nice.
But there was a moment of rocking myself in the corner and crying a little bit and just being like, "Oh my God, how could there be this many things wrong?"
Mine would probably show me sitting at my desk trying to do something in Esri, because I can do basic things. I can use the crime analysis, the little add-in. But after seeing Eric Pisa present or these other stuff, or looking at this book that I've not been able to go through yet, I'm just like, man, I know this much of how to use this tool, this much, and I just know it's a whole path I need to work on. I branch out of my Power BI life and focus on that for a little bit.
Have you learned Model Builder yet?
Nope.
Take an afternoon, watch a few classes on Model Builder, and that's all you need. The rest of it's just gravy.
All right. Now to the future. What does your future look like? What does crime analysis future look like? Bigger picture, not just you.
Are we doing optimistic ghosts of Christmas future here, or realistic ghosts of Christmas future here?
It's your ghost.
I would like to. I would like to see a future where analysis is not something that is inside a police department at all. Police departments need maintenance people to maintain their facilities, but they don't necessarily have a maintenance guy who is supervised by a police sergeant. They have a maintenance department. They need utilities to power all of their stuff. They need plumbing, but they don't necessarily have to supervise the plumber that fixes their toilets and stuff. And I think that's because those things are all recognized as their own profession, so they have their own departments. Inside a city, they have a maintenance department and a fire department and a utilities department, and they have a police department. And I would like to see analytics be the same way. There should be an analytics department, and if you want an analyst to come over and support data-driven policing or do case support or whatever, then that person is liaison to the police department. And then they have mid and upper level managers, and they have a career path that they can promote, and they have people who can set best practices for analysts not just in the police department but through the entire city. And they can make sure that work products are accurate and timely and within best practice, and that you're not creating all of your analytic products on a print shop file or WordStar 97 or whatever, that we're all like using the most current up-to-date stuff. That's kind of what I hope the optimistic future looks like. But I know that the mere suggestion that we take people out of a police department causes all sorts of wailing and gnashing of teeth, and so I think that would be a fight, but that would be the future that I would like to see.
Alrighty then.
I can't decide whether I think there is going to be an increase in analysts because of the need in the amount of data that is going to be out there or decrease because there's going to be more of a reliance on AI. So I am trying to decide at the moment which direction it would go into, and it's probably going to be based on the number, how far out, number of years wise. But I do see growth in the upcoming years because I just think there's going to be more and more data. We get more data to analyze and to work with every year, and I think it's almost going to drive people into being more specialized because just like there's people that could spend all day just on social media analysis. Like that's what they could be doing if they really wanted to. There's that much data out there, and but I do feel that eventually, a lot of these data sets and a lot of these decisions, asking questions of the data, is going to be more towards the AI realm. So it does make me wonder, is there going to be more of a rainbow where there's an increase and then a decrease of analysts?
I feel like mine is simpler, but not. Simpler, but not. I feel like every department that has an analyst would actually have two, because they would have a crime analyst and an intel analyst. And they would have separate jobs because they are separate skill sets with different parts of your brain that you're using. So if you had one, you had the other, and the roles would stop being intertwined. So you're not trying to learn 5 different million skill sets and be experts in 5 different things and trying to do threat assessments while you're also trying to build a dashboard and trying to... Not that I'm overwhelmed at work right now. But no matter the size of the department, whether you have 10 or you have clearly defined roles in analysis, and what your role is, you do. So if you're the data analyst, then you deal with data. If you're the intel analyst, then you deal with intel. OSINT, all that jazz. So
what's weird is I think that we all three just touched on the same concept, just in very different ways. Like, I said that analytics should be taken out of police departments because analytics is its own profession with its own skill set. It needs its own supervisors. It needs its own oversight. It needs its own promotional ladder. Jason, you're kind of talking about AI, and does that cause an increase or a decrease in analysts? I don't know that AI has anything to do with it. I think that the number of people whose job title involves the word analyst will go up, but the number of people who are actually doing analytical work will go down.
Oh,
and
okay. That's a good point.
We've kind of already seen it, like police departments who realize they should be doing analysis, but they don't really want to get an analyst, so they have somebody who's doing social media, and they're just like, can you also do some analyst stuff on the side? Or they get the detective who's kind of computer savvy. Mm-hmm. And Cassie, I think that's what you're talking about. Or we're going to move you to a real-time crime center, and you're going to be a real-time crime center analyst, and you're also going to do analysis work. And it's this whole idea that all of these different jobs and professions can just be combined into one person, I think sets that person up for failure, and the department up too, because you're not going to get somebody who is dedicated to any one of those skill sets all of the time. I said this multiple times at prior agency, that in being where we were in the real-time center, I was like, I have 3 jobs right now. I am the real-time analyst, right? So I have to watch cameras, monitor the radio, make sure whatever resources, if I can be doing workup while they're on the way to a domestic, if there's a crash, I gotta pull a video. Okay, so I have that. So that's a full job in itself. And then the intel analyst, right? Because I work with the detectives on cases and make sure regionally we're identifying BOLOs and stuff that is going out and putting together that stuff. I'm doing open source, various other things. So there's that whole job. Oh, and doing the gang intel. Oh, there's that. And then the data analyst, because anytime any data request comes in, I have to deal with that. I have to have the stats done for stratified policing stuff, CompStat, whatever you want to call it. That is my primary responsibility when, the community engagement team is going to go meet with this specific HOA. I have to pull their stats for the last 2 years. So that's its own job. And I am one person working 3 jobs. And
there was no path forward. Oh, we're going to get another person. Okay, so we're going to change up our roles. Nope, you're all just going to continue to do all 3 jobs. Like, so we can't get good. You're just like a jack of all trades, but a master of none, I guess.
And what's really unfair is that police officers themselves will say, well, you know, as cops, we kind of have to do that. Like, we have to, like, wear all these different hats all the time. Like, at one point, I have to be, like, a counselor. At another point, I have to be, like, a tactician. And it's just like, well, no, that's not really the same thing at all, because you guys have a very well-established profession. You have an academy and a standardized training. And what that means is that whenever we hire a police officer, we know exactly the role that we're hiring for. So we know the skill sets we want to see. We know the attitude and the disposition. We know the training that they're going to go through that's going to weed out people who shouldn't be in the job and those that should. We can ingrain them in the processes that are well established and how they should handle things.
Yep.
When chiefs ask me, it's like, well, am I going to hire an analyst? What should I look for? It's like, well, what are you looking for? Like, are you looking for somebody who's going to monitor cameras all day? Are you looking for somebody who's going to do data analysis and help you implement a stratified policing or problem-oriented policing? Are you looking for somebody who's going to do case support? Are you looking for somebody who's going to do financial flow analysis? Like, those are all very different things. And then the answer is just like, well, you know, what they say is, I want somebody who can do it all. But what they're really saying without saying it is, I don't actually want to think about it. I don't really have a vision. I just want to hire somebody.
Yeah, and that's what I hear a lot. And I hear, it's amazing to me that you still hear that today. Like, I get it 20 years ago or whatever it is, there was like, oh, analyst is like a cool thing that everybody has, so let's go hire that analyst. So they didn't really have a vision. It's surprising that I still hear that today. But this is, I think, one of the perks, that one of the things that people like about being a crime analyst is you can come in and make the job whatever you want because they don't have it defined. So you can be this jack of all trades, and if you're interested in variety, you can go do pretty much whatever you're interested in, and you just have that freedom. I think people enjoy that type of freedom as opposed to being boxed in and saying, okay, you're going to be over here and you're going to just do this, and you can't think outside the box at all.
I think there's boundaries in between that where there should be some kind of guardrails, right? Mm-hmm. Like, not just a giant open field, because then we turn into the secretaries and the IT people, and all of that kind of ends up flowing into the analyst role. Mm-hmm. Having at least boundary expectations to be able to still be creative and, you know, be able to make improvements where you see fit and provide recommendations and do what you enjoy, but there's still, like, you have a general understanding and clear path of, okay, I need to take this type of training to move forward in my skill set, or to be able to do this for my department, as versus, like, we're going to throw some stuff at a wall here today. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to piece part this training over here, and then we'll just kind of figure it out. I don't know. There's a happy medium somewhere.
Everybody likes the freedom to make it whatever you want until somebody comes around and says that they're not getting what they want. And that happens so often. They'll hire analysts and they'll say, make this whatever you want, and then the analyst goes off and does this other thing. And then you have these command staff meetings where it's like, well, what value are we getting out of this analyst? Well, they're over there doing X, Y, Z, but is that really what we want them to do? Well, I don't really know. And then it kind of becomes this situation where, yeah, that analyst becomes a glorified secretary, and everyone's just like, oh, yeah, that analyst is really nice, they're great, but they're not actually really, like, doing analytics. No one has ever really, like, held them to account for anything. And so you get, analysts who just more or less just become bureaucrats, and they just kind of exist, and there's not really a strategy for how to use them, and there's no expectations for how to use them, and I don't know. So I don't think that's good for them or for the profession.
I don't know if they have the freedom to do what they want to be that free radical, if many people are choosing to be a secretary. I think that when it comes to those clerical duties, that's something that a boss or middle managers need some clerical thing done, so they just assign it to the analyst because they know how to run the printer or whatever, they know how to do stuff on the computer. I think if they're choosing their own path, most likely they're doing case support because that's what a lot of people enjoy doing. Most people aren't going to choose to do administrative analysis and to do threat assessments. I don't think most people would choose that path. They're either going to do like problem solving analysis, or they're going to do case support. That's the path that they choose.
I don't know. I think, this is me personally, and I like the freedom of, like you said, like being able to do what I enjoy. Like there's certain parts, like that's why I work in a small department where we do wear multiple hats.
Mm-hmm.
They're still, I try to keep them within boundaries. Like I have like a hard line, like I will not do social media stuff. I am not going to update our Facebook page. That is not in my role. Mm-hmm. But like we do wear multiple hats. But I still have, like, my first week there, my supervisor gave me a sheet of general expectations of the analyst. And I appreciated that so much, because in previous roles I had asked for that. I'm like, okay, we're doing this thing. What are my expectations here? I need to know what my goals are so that I can reach them. And have had supervisors come back and be like, well, you weren't doing this, or you only did 3% of this. I asked you for my goals, and you didn't give me any, and now I'm being evaluated poorly. So having something to set you up for success, I feel, is helpful.
Yeah,
and that's a big problem. In our industry survey that we're still circulating, one of the questions we ask is there anything written, a policy, a general order, anything at all that describes how an analyst is going to be used, how you're going to be evaluated? It's like 80% say no. Mm-hmm. And then when we turn around and we talk to the supervisors, we say, how are your analysts doing? And overwhelmingly, a lot of them will say, oh, they're great. And then we say, by what metric are they great? And they're like, well, if I ask for something, they get it to me. And it's like,
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not really doing analysis here. We're just kind of all existing together, There's not really a mission that we're all driving towards because nothing's been communicated.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the folks that I've talked to that have been in this situation that got hired, they were a first-time analyst. They were the department's first analyst. They had to basically build this from the ground up. Mm-hmm. I don't think I would be very good in that role, to be honest with you. I think I would be much better at like coming into something established and doing process improvement type stuff here and there, tweaking stuff there and there, as opposed to building everything from the ground up. I think I would find that very challenging. But there's some people that were very good at it when they were put in that role.
I think that's why I was just so amazed. And I love my job. I love where I'm at, okay? There was no analyst. There was no process there. Mm-hmm. And they still handed me a list of expectations. They brought in someone tech savvy into my interview. Like, they clearly did their research and knew what they wanted before they hired me. Mm-hmm. And having worked with and for several different agencies and people in different agencies, I had never seen that. And for such a small place, it just
that's a huge green flag.
That's yeah. Awesome. And I just it shouldn't be that out of the normal though. That should be a regular thing. I don't know why this was it's whoa, this is amazing, but really it should just be status quo. They're this is baseline rules. They're why is this that weird? They don't understand. It's great.
Sure. Are we still on Christmas Future?
Yeah.
I guess.
So yeah. So I do often think about, not often, but I do think about, there will be a time when I will be talking about doing either the podcast or this show in the past tense, right? At some point in time, I'll stop doing this, and what is that going to feel like, right? What is that to say? Oh, I used to do a podcast, or I used to be on YouTube, or whatever. It's that kind of things. Oh, okay, that's a little weird to say right now. So that future of oh, that would be something for me in terms of Scrooge, showing me that future of a time when I'm not doing this, and I'll probably add that somebody still hasn't figured out the Easter egg that I put in the Excel chapter for the IACA textbook.
I stared at this thing for days, and I'm I don't know.
Jason, how do you want to be remembered when that day comes? What do you want people to say about Jason Elder and his podcasts?
He had the hardest Easter egg ever.
Yeah, well, the Easter egg that couldn't be
Ready
discovered.
Player One Easter egg.
Yeah, so
I solved that one. We did a full campus-wide Ready Player One at UNCW. Solve those things. Can't solve his in a book that I've stared at a million times.
But how do I want to be remembered though? Just allow an analyst to talk. I know that sounds a little sappy, but that's the name of the show, and one of the things I don't like to monologue. I give my opinion here and there, obviously. I have plenty of opinions, but I don't necessarily like to be the star of each episode. I like that to be my guest, and I just, whatever they want to talk about, whatever their story is, their contributions to the profession, it's their time. This is their showcase, and that's what I've been able to produce. So that's what I would like people that I allowed analysts to talk.
That, I don't know why, I just feel like when we're at Jason's funeral one day, is that what we're doing?
Old man Elder finally bites it.
I hope I get to say a few words at your funeral, Jason.
Yeah. But here's though, I do want a memorial award. Like, there better be a Jason Elder Memorial Award given out.
Noted.
Yeah.
We got
the
you.
The most outspoken analyst of the year, right there.
We'll have...
Ooh. Ooh.
Yes.
That could be a fun award to give.
Yes. I think I know who'd win this year, but we'll just leave it at that.
We might do something fun, like polling certain members of the profession and just be like, give the award to whoever's approval rating is the lowest or something like that.
Who caused the most chaos this year?
Oh man. Yeah.
Charlie, how do you want to be remembered? Hopefully when you retire and not when you die.
In that suit.
I don't know. Let's do that on a different episode, eh? Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like this was a nice episode. We'll end that on a introspective note.
All right. Last Christmas question. Wrap it up here. Christmas morning. Are you guys gonna jump out of bed? Sun's awake, sky's awake, I'm awake? Or would you prefer to sleep in? Start the day slow, enjoy the day off.
Oh, it is. I don't normally have strong opinions on any of these, but you are not sleeping in. Not on Christmas. No way. No, that is not the day to sleep in. There are days to sleep in, but not on Christmas morning.
Nah, dude, I run around like a little kid. I go and I wake the kids up out of bed, and I'm screaming at them. I'm like, it's Christmas, wake the fuck up! Yeah. And they're all groggy. They're like, calm down, Uncle Charlie, you're too amped up.
Yeah. One tradition that I started years ago, and I still do, is that on Christmas Eve, after the kids go to bed, I run a string of Christmas lights from outside their bedroom all the way to the Christmas tree. So if it's dark when they get up, they have the guiding light to go all the way to the Christmas tree.
Do you let them get up on their own and just go straight to the tree? Is there any ceremony around waking up on Christmas?
We do normally all open our presents together, so but they would have that option to get up. It's funny. When we grew up, we mostly got up before our parents. That's in my household that I grew up. In my house, I normally get up before the kids. The kids are usually they're not sleeping until 10 or 11 any day, but I'll usually get up about 6-ish each day, and they'll usually get up about 7 or 8. So
I always remember waking up as a kid and having to hold my little brothers back from waking up the parents. I'm we gotta it's 5 a.m. maybe just a little bit longer. We'll just sit here and we'll all just stare and guess what's in the presents and stare at the stockings that we can't touch because they're not awake yet. But I try to be all right, let's like let him sleep till 7, and then we'll like make some coffee and get him out of bed.
We were never allowed to. My parents made us all sleep in one room, and no one was allowed to leave that room until our parents opened the door. Like, you guys were spoiled, just opening doors and running out there and looking at your presents and stuff, man. We were
They didn't want Santa Claus to kidnap you, you know?
Yeah.
had to keep us safe. Well, he was going to do a home invasion that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I made a
He
bolo.
Yeah, did a
But-
home invasion. I mean,
Yep.
and I
There is a
well, I even have
Poster
this.
board size bolo for Santa Claus on my office.
Yeah, but I would probably he would probably have a good defense at my house because we actually have this key that we put around the front door that gives them access to the.
I don't know why they got in. We just left it unlocked with the key on the seat.
Yeah.
Oh man! But before we finish up, though, like if I guess I want to get you guys a gift, so I want to give you a gift card. So where should I give you a gift card at?
I'll be grateful for any gift cards that anybody gets me anywhere.
That's not true. Like, so gift cards, yes or no?
I'm very anti-gift card. I'm very anti-cash as a gift because I think it's just like the least amount of thought that you can put into anything. And we always say it's the thought that counts, and I put in zero thought. And then it's like a quantifiable, like the fact that it's an exact amount of money, it's like, I love you this much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it just seems shallow. But then gift cards are worse because it's just like, oh, it's like cash, except you can only use it at one place, and there's an expiration date on it, and people can use it to commit money laundering. Because now we're going to
There it is.
move currency from one form to another, and so now everybody from Walmart to American Express to Victoria's Secrets and KB Toys has to have anti-money laundering people scanning their gift card purchases. Nah, I just wish we would do away with gift cards. And if you don't have a thoughtful gift to give somebody, just, I don't know, a t-shirt, you know? Socks.
Yeah.
Socks are good. Everyone needs socks.
Yeah. It is weird when you do a gift exchange and you just give each other a gift card. So that does seem a little bit weird. And then and I've given gift cards to some people before. I've actually recently, and this is old man elder. You guys are both going to tell me I'm old man elder. I've actually wrote people a check, and because, and then it's up to them if they want to. Some people don't cash it. Some people won't. Like, I'll send them a check and they'll like never cash it. So then
like-
I'm not actually out any money. It's up to them to actually cash it. And so
How long do you wait before you just cancel the check?
I don't ever cancel the check. I mean, they can go in there and whatever if they still have the check and go do that. I recently switched banks, so I actually there was a couple people I said, "Hey, are you cashing this one?" And they're like, "No, we're not going to cash it." And so I was like, "Okay." So I had to, but yeah. So at least if they choose not to partake, then I'm not out any money. But I did write them a check.
I do
If
the
you-
gift cards, but I feel like they have a specific purpose, right? So one, I'd like Visa gift cards, and they're usually for like teachers or someone like the whole thought that counts. It's not someone close to me usually that I'm getting them for, or it's like in addition to the thing that I bought. Like
I guess
not
that's no
just
different than like
solely-
tipping more around the holidays, right? Like
Like
Alright.
I did do them for my office, but I got them something else with it, and it was like just like an extra little bonus.
I don't know if we've ever talked about odd jobs that we had, but the 1 year to raise money for Christmas, actually, I was hosting my family, and I needed some extra money for all the stuff that I wanted to do while I was hosting. That was my Christmas vacation Christmas, where I actually had like a 14-foot Christmas tree in the house. Real, mind you, real Christmas tree, 14 feet. I worked temporarily second shift as a call operator for Visa gift cards. And so people would call in with all kinds of questions.
how was that?
And it was amazing to me, and this is where I learned that a lot of those Visa gift cards, their policy is after a certain amount of time. I think that most of these ones that I was dealing with at the time, after 6 months, there would be like a $2 service charge, that would eventually drain the amount on the card. And so people would be calling them a year later saying like, hey, there's either no money on this card or there's a lot less. And I'm like, oh, starting on this date, a $2.50 service charge was added each month, and that drained it, or whatever it is, and that's what it was.
Wow.
So
Someone cared so little. Like, we talk about money is a great gift, but yet they don't cash your checks and they don't use their gift cards.
So if you get those Visa ones, use them right away. That would be don't hold on to them. Now the ones that are in from a restaurant or whatever it is, I've never heard of them doing that. It was only like the Visa, the specific Visa ones, is the ones that it does that at.
If you've never felt bad giving somebody a gift card, then the next time you go to a white elephant event where you can like steal each other's gifts, go get yourself like a $20 McDonald's gift card and put it in there. Because I guarantee you somebody else is going to bring a $20 Chick-fil-A gift card, and the minute that gets unwrapped, no one's going to give a shit about your gift card anymore, and you're going to feel really crappy. And then you're going to say, gee, I should have just given somebody cash.
Yeah.
On that very uplifting note.
As a prank for gift cards, Charlie, this might be something you might want to. A guy I knew once, his buddy hates Outback Steakhouse.
Oh.
Hates it. So he got him a gift card for Outback Steakhouse, but there was no money on it. So not only did the guy he had to pay his own money because there was nothing on the gift card.
That's so
That's actually
that's a Scrooge.
That's amazing.
That's a Scrooge for you. That's your Scrooge moment right there with the gift card.
Oh, that's horrible.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, this has been fun, but I need to go get myself another Christmas-themed old-fashioned. So
yes.
Thank you guys very much for the conversation tonight, and of course, have a Merry Christmas. And for everybody watching, we will see you in 2025.
Yes, thank you both.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.